So on this video, I want to talk about inspiration, getting ideas for your story. Just touching on one or two things in this video. So we can struggle a lot with the lack of inspiration going back and forth, where it doesn't typically stay steady. What I've found with my writing is that the more I write, the more inspiration I tend to get. If you want to write like once you feel inspired, that hasn't quite always worked out for me. So typically like making time when I do write, or just when I write more often, that's when I tend to be inspired more. If you're struggling with getting inspiration, just scheduling time to write, even if you don't feel like it, sitting down, writing anyway, even if it's not that great, just getting in the practice, and that can help like spur on more ideas, just kind of get the juices moving. But also being aware of what tends to inspire you, and also not just being aware of what inspires you, but controlling what inspires you. Because you can be inspired by all sorts of stuff, by movies, by music, anything. But not all sources of inspiration are ones you actually want to copy. Like, for instance, maybe you watched a movie and then you got like this inspiration, you got an idea for your story after watching this movie. But the movie doesn't exactly align with your belief system. You wouldn't really want to teach what that movie was teaching. So something like that, you might not want to use that inspiration because of the source that it came from. I started playing around with that idea of monitoring my inspiration when I first started working on the book that I'm working on now. And I was very surprised by the fact that once I figured out, okay, these different sources, if I get inspired like by these types of movies, by this type of music, I don't really want to use that inspiration. So I just ignore it when I got an idea after watching or listening to that. And after not too long, I just stopped being inspired by those things. And now I'm just inspired by, or I basically only get inspiration by the sources that I like singled out as ones that I want, which for me is like the sermons on Sunday, my devos. Oh my gosh, I get so many good ideas by devos, devotions, your like time with God, prayer, reading your Bible, that type of stuff. And some with music, but mostly by sermons and by my own Bible reading and prayer. So that's where I tend to get inspiration from. If I get into a season where I am writing, but I'm still not getting many ideas, I'll pray through that. And I mean, at least 2 times come to mind immediately of times when I needed inspiration. I prayed about it, and then the next Sunday, the sermon gave me ideas for exactly what I needed to write about next, or the next part in the story. It was so much fun. But yeah, stuff like that. So then, well, the most important thing, pray about it. If you're having a hard time, like, God's a really good writer. He gives great advice, I have found many times over the years. So those are 2 tips for how to get inspired. Honestly, start writing anyway, even if you don't feel inspired, and pray and read your Bible. So yeah, I hope that helps.